Good morning. The topic for today is elementary particles and their classification. So, what do you mean by an elementary particle? Physicists have been searching for the ultimate building blocks of particles of which all matter is composed. The building blocks or particles are the fundamental or elementary particles. So we can define elementary particles as the building blocks of matter. We know about a few number of particles like proton, electron, neutron, isn't it? After studying the structure of the atom. So we thought that electrons, protons and neutrons are the building blocks of matter. So they are the elementary particles. Electron, proton and neutron were considered as the elementary particles. But with the discovery of a photon, the number of elementary particles increased to 3 plus 1, that is 4. After a long time, there were discovery of several type of particle accelerators. High energy particle accelerators through which many elementary particles have discovered. About 200 elementary particles are there, and now these particles are called elementary particles. Not only electron, proton, neutron and photon, more number of elementary particles were discovered after the invention of high energy particle accelerators. So with this introduction, let's move on to our topic, elementary particles. So we can define elementary particles as structureless particles because they cannot be explained with the help of other particles. We don't know the inner structure of electrons, protons and neutrons till now. So we considered electrons, protons and neutrons as elementary particles. So they are structureless and they cannot be explained as a system of other particles. And we know that for you can take an example of electron. You know that electron is having a charge, mass, spin and magnetic moment also. So all the elementary particles have mass, spin, charge and magnetic moment. And these elementary particles are assigned some quantum numbers also to distinguish between them. And we will study about the quantum numbers later. We had already said that these elementary particles are characterized with a mass, spin, charge and magnetic moment. Now this spin is also known as intrinsic angular momentum. And it can have two type of values, that is either spin can have integral values or half integral spins also there. So the particles having integral spins are known as bosons and the particles with half integral spins are called fermions. We will later on see the classification. But to know about what are fermions and bosons, which the elementary particles are, fermions are the elementary particles with a half integral spin like 1 by 2 h cut, 3 by 2 h cut, 5 by 2 h cut. And the examples are electrons, protons, neutrons, etc. And bosons are elementary particles with integral spins like 0 h cut, 1 h cut, 2 h cut, etc. Examples are photons, pions, and mesons. We will study about these particles later in our classification. So you just have to know that elementary particles consist of both half integral spin particles as well as half integral spin particles. A large number of elementary particles have small lifetime, which is known as characteristic lifetime. That means it is having a lifetime of 10 raised to minus 16 second. So these particles are unstable particles. So a large number of elementary particles are unstable. And there are very short-lived particles are there, and those elementary particles are known as resonance particles having lifetime 10 raised to minus 23 seconds. Very short-lived particles, for example delta 0, delta plus, delta plus plus, also delta minus is also there. Now we know about protons, neutrons and electrons, isn't it? And we know that they are stable. So a very few elementary particles are stable. Example protons, neutrons and electrons. Now what happens to these large number of elementary particles that are unstable? We know that unstable particles will decay into simpler particles. Similar, in the case of elementary particles, the elementary particles which are unstable will decay into simpler particles, or it will annihilate with their antiparticles. Annihilate means it will join or combine with their antiparticles. You know that positron is an antiparticle of electron, and you know that positron is having same mass as that of electron, but it is having an opposite charge of as that of electron. So what happens when electron and positron come together? They will combine, and that process is known as annihilation. So unstable particles, either they will decay into smaller particles or they will annihilate with their antiparticles. So what do you mean by an antiparticle? So each elementary particle have its antiparticle, and these antiparticles have the same mass as well as spin as the particles, but opposite charge and magnetic moment. Antiparticles have same mass and spin but opposite charge and magnetic moment as that of the particle. For example, electron and positron. Positron is having same mass and spin as that of electron, but you know that the charge is opposite and the magnetic moment is also opposite. Now there are some particles who have that particles itself as their antiparticles. They are photons, gravitons, eta 0 and pi 0 are their own antiparticles. And these elementary particles consist of several other set of particles called neutrinos. And these neutrinos are chargeless elementary particles. And there are three types of neutrinos are there. Neutrino associated with an electron called electron neutrino, represented by nu suffix e. A neutrino that is associated with muon neutrino mu, and tau neutrino tau. So the chargeless elementary particles are there, and they are known as neutrinos. And these neutrinos also have antiparticles. So anti-electron neutrino nu e bar, anti-muon neutrino mu bar, anti-tau neutrino tau bar. Antiparticles are represented with the help of a bar. In these three neutrinos, only tau neutrino has mass, which is approximately 320 times the mass of the electron, that is 320 MeV. Electron neutrino and muon neutrino are chargeless. Now, how can we identify a neutrino and an antineutrino? Think that a neutrino is before us, moving far away from us. So we are watching the neutrino from behind, and if the neutrino spins counterclockwise, that will be a neutrino. And if that spins clockwise, it will be an antineutrino. That means the spin of neutrino is opposite in direction to its direction of motion when viewed from behind. Just think that a neutrino is before us, which is moving away from us. And we are watching the neutrino from behind, so that if it spins clockwise, it is an antineutrino, and if it spins counterclockwise or anticlockwise, it will be a neutrino. So it helps us to distinguish between a neutrino and antineutrino. So neutrinos are also there. And with this introduction, we are moving on to the classification of elementary particles. We had seen the introduction for elementary particles, which consist of what is an elementary particle, about its classification based on its integral spin values. Then we had seen antiparticles, neutrinos, stable as well as unstable elementary particles. Now moving on to the classification. The elementary particles are classified on the basis of the spin. So we had already studied that spin can have either integral values or half integral values. So the elementary particles with the half integral values are fermions, and integral spin values are bosons. So the first classification is the elementary particles are classified into fermions and bosons on the basis of spin. Now, moving on to the left hand side, that is fermions. On the basis of interaction with other particles, fermions are again classified into leptons, and baryons on the basis of interaction with other particles. You know that there are four fundamental forces or interactions exist in nature: electromagnetic, gravitational, strong, and weak. So these can be the forces acting between two particles, or they are also known as the four basic interactions. That is gravitational interaction or gravitational force, electromagnetic interaction or electromagnetic force, strong force, and weak force. So on the basis of interaction with the particles, these fermions are classified into leptons and baryons. That means leptons undergo weak interaction and baryons undergo strong interaction. Now on the right hand side there are bosons, that is particles with integral spin. And again these bosons are classified into massless bosons and mesons. So now the classification is based on the mass. Those bosons that doesn't have mass are classified into massless bosons, and the bosons having mass are classified as mesons. So boson on the basis of mass is splitted into or classified into massless bosons, that means bosons having no mass, and mesons, that means having mass. Here you can see earlier the classification was like leptons, baryons and mesons. Leptons, the word means light. Baryons, the word means heavy. And mesons means medium. So initially the classification was based on simply the mass. That means the elementary particles are classified as leptons, baryons and mesons based on their mass. The lighter particles come under leptons, heavier particles come under baryons, and the particles with intermediate mass or medium mass come under mesons. But later on this classification has been modified, and now we can see the leptons and baryons under fermions and massless bosons and mesons under bosons. So again you can conclude elementary particles into fermions and bosons, fermions into leptons and baryons based on the interactions. Leptons undergo weak interactions and baryons undergo strong interaction. Massless bosons means boson that doesn't have mass, and mesons means having bosons having a particular mass. Now leptons, they are weakly interacting fermions, or we can say that leptons undergo weak interaction. Now the leptons take part in weak interaction as well as electromagnetic interaction also if the lepton is a charged particle. This lepton family consists of 6 members: electron E minus, electron neutrino nu E, muon neutrino mu minus, muon neutrino nu mu, tau particle tau, tau neutrino nu tau. So the lepton family consists of 6 members: electron, muon and tau particle, all are negatively charged with their neutrinos. nu e, nu mu, nu tau. And we already know that neutrinos are chargeless particles. And this is 6 members and their antiparticles together forms the lepton family. Electrons E minus, muons mu minus, tau tau minus. There is no minus given for muon and tau particle in the figure. You have to put mu as mu minus and tau as tau minus. And their corresponding neutrinos, so 6 members, and their antiparticles means altogether there will be 12 members for lepton family. Now, on the basis of mass, baryons are classified into nucleons and hyperons. Baryons are classified. We know that baryons are elementary particles that undergo strong interaction, and they are classified on the basis of mass again. So, proton and neutron are having both having approximate mass, and the particles having greater mass than that of a nucleon are classified as hyperons. We know that the nucleons are the particles that exist inside the nucleus. So they are proton and neutron, and they have approximately similar mass. So they are classified as a group under the name nucleon. And the particles having greater mass than that of nucleons are together known as hyperons. So on the basis of mass, baryons are classified into nucleons and hyperons. And nucleons, you know that consist of proton and neutron together with their antiparticles. Generally, we can say that nucleus consists of only two particles, proton and neutron, but their antiparticles also exist. Now, moving on to hyperons, there are several hyperons are there. First one is lambda 0, which is a single particle, a lambda particle with a charge 0. Second family is a sigma family. Sigma family consists of 3 members, sigma plus, sigma minus, and sigma 0. And the next family is a psi, or it is also known as cascade hyperons. Cascade hyperons, and there are two types of cascade hyperons, psi minus and psi 0. And the last hyperon is omega with the charge minus, that is omega minus hyperon. So that forms the hyperons family. Hyperons are having mass greater than that of nucleons and consist of 4 families: lambda, sigma, psi and omega. Lambda and omega consist of only one particle, that is lambda 0 and omega minus. Then sigma consists of sigma plus, sigma 0 and sigma minus. And psi, cascade hyperon, have psi minus and psi 0. So that forms the classification of baryons. So here you can see the entire classification under fermions. Fermions into leptons and baryons. Leptons into electrons, muons, tau particle with their neutrinos, and baryons on the basis of mass into nucleons and hyperons. Now moving on to the right side, that is, we had already seen that bosons are classified into massless bosons and mesons. Here Two massless bosons are photons and gravitons. Photons having spin 1 and gravitons having spin 2. We had already studied that these comes under bosons, and bosons are elementary particles with integral spin. So spin 1 for photon and spin 2 for graviton, which comes under massless boson. So photon and graviton doesn't have any mass. Now the next classification is mesons. So bosons having mass is classified into mesons, and they are all having spin value 0. And these mesons consist of 3 categories, that is pions, kaons and eta mesons. Pions, represented by pi, consist of 3 members, pi plus, pi 0 and pi minus. Similarly, kaon, K-A-O-N, kaon family consists of 2 particles, K plus, K 0. And eta meson, there is only a single eta meson, that is eta 0. So pions, kaons and eta mesons forms the meson family with all having spin 0. So this is the entire classification of elementary particles, and you have to specify on which parameter the classification is made, and you have to specify each classification with its detail. Now already we had said that initially the classification was based on mass, so that the classification was made as leptons, baryons and mesons. Leptons means lighter particles, baryons means heavier particle, and mesons are the particles with medium mass. Here there is another term, another set of particles called hadrons. Hadrons, which is equal to baryons plus mesons. Here you can see the baryons, that comes under fermions, and mesons, that comes under bosons. Now these baryons and mesons together known as hadrons. Hadrons. So baryons plus mesons together known as hadrons. We had already studied about resonance particles in the introduction. That is, resonance particles are very short-lived particles. And what do you mean by the term resonance? Resonance means we had studied resonant frequency, isn't it? So if the incoming frequency is equivalent to the frequency of the natural frequency, we can say that it's a phenomenon of resonance. So something is in harmony with something else. That's resonance means. In nuclear physics, let's consider a nuclear reaction. That means a neutron beam is coming and hitting a target. And we are placing a neutron detector after the target in order to check the amount of neutron beam coming out of the target. We have a neutron beam, and this neutron beam is incident on a target particle, and we are watching this neutron beam with the help of a neutron detector. And we know the energy of the incident neutron beam. So we have plotted it along x-axis, and along y-axis we have plotted absorption cross-section. Simply means area of the target that had absorbed the neutron beam. And here you can see a graph. So on y-axis we have plotted the absorption cross section. That means how much neutrons have been absorbed by the target. And here you can see that the maximum absorption occurs at an energy, neutron energy is 0. And this graph is known as the neutron capture resonance. So this graph is having a peak value at E0. That means neutrons with energy E0 are more absorbed by the target as compared to the neutron of other energies. So the maximum absorption of neutron takes place when its energy is E0. So it's a kind of resonance, isn't it? So we can call it as neutron capture resonance. So that is a resonance in the case of a nuclear reaction. Now in the case of elementary particles, we are studying the scattering of pions by protons. We can see two graphs there. First, the darkened line shows the scattering of pions, pi plus with the protons, that is pi plus plus p, and the dotted line shows the scattering of pions, that is negatively charged pions, pi minus plus p. So we are observing this reaction, that is pi plus plus p as well as pi minus plus p. So that is a scattering of pions by protons, and it was studied by Enrico Fermi, and he had performed a series of experiments, and in 1952 he proved the existence of the phenomenon of resonance. See, when such a scattering is done, there was a formation of new just bond particles. You can see the peaks where the peaks means at that peak value a new particle has formed which is having a lifetime of 10 raised to minus 23 second. That means the incoming particle and the target nuclei temporarily form a bound state. That means in the last case we had considered a neutron beam and a target particle. Here we are having a proton and a pion particle, pi plus or pi minus. So when these particles get bombarded, they recombine temporarily for a very few time, and this temporarily formed bound state is called resonance state, and which is a very short-lived state. So it is an excited state. We know that the excited states are short-lived. So we can say this bound state to be a short-lived state and also as an excited state. And this state is called resonance state. Now we know that in this state the lifetime is very small, that is 10 raised to minus 23 second. That means the particle, what happens to an unstable particle? It will decay into some other particles, isn't it? So these particles decay into some other particles through strong force or strong interaction. I repeat, So whenever a pion gets incident on a proton, see, we know that pions, pi plus, are positively charged and proton is also positively charged. So both positive charge are getting closer, and you know that it's a scattering of scattering process. So if the incoming particle is having high energy, they will combine together and form a new particle having very short lifetime, or we can say that they temporarily form a bound state which is short lived and also an excited state, and this state is called a resonance state, and after their small lifetime they will decay into some other particles through strong interaction. So initially this state was known as resonance state. A bound state or excited state is known as resonance state. And later on, mass, spin, and the parameters like charge, magnetic moment can be assigned to the resonance states. So now these resonance states are resonant particles. So initially it was named as resonance states because it is a temporarily formed bound state which will decay into simpler state, means it is an example for an excited state. But this state, at this state, mass, spin, charge and moment can be assigned to these resonance states. That means they are the parameters of an elementary particle, isn't it? So that particles or that states are now known as resonant particles. So this is a scattering of pions with the protons forming two resonance particles, delta plus plus and delta zero. That is, here you can check for the charge, pi plus plus proton. That means positively charged pion plus positively charged proton, giving you delta plus plus. So it is doubly positively charged. Now the second equation, pi minus joined with a proton, positively charged proton. So minus and plus, the charge is 0. So delta 0. So here delta plus plus and delta 0 are the example for resonant particles. So that's the graph we had seen here. Two graphs showing the formation of delta plus plus as well as delta 0. Now the next example is when a proton bombarded with chion. So K minus plus proton, we got sigma plus with a star. Star denotes that that particle is in an excited state, plus pi minus. So after 10 raised to minus 23 second, sigma plus will decay into lambda 0 plus pi plus. You can check for charge conservation in each equations. You can see that the total charge in the left hand side will be equal to the total charge on the right side. That means charge is always conserved in particle reactions. So sigma plus star is the resonant particle here, and it decays in 10 raised to minus 23 second into lambda 0 and pi plus particle. And there is another option for the formation, that is K minus plus proton. Initially here we saw that K minus plus proton giving you sigma plus plus pi minus. So there is another option for also, that is K minus plus proton will give you sigma minus plus pi plus also. Here also charge is conserved. Here sigma minus star denotes the resonant particle which will decay into lambda 0 plus pi minus. So in another example for resonant particle, here is a sigma minus star. And in the above equation, it is a sigma plus a star is the resonant particle. Now the another example for the formation of resonant particle, that is, you can see two protons colliding, forming a particle denoted by rho plus pi, and this rho can be positively charged rho plus or negatively charged rho minus, or it can be of neutral charge, that is rho 0. So depending upon the on which rho is formed, you can see it decays into corresponding pion particles. So here rho is the resonant particle. And here you can see that these resonances involves both pions and both baryons, as well as you had seen sigma, the example of sigma, isn't it? Sigma plus star and sigma minus star. You can see that sigma is a baryon that comes under hyperon. So these resonances are known as baryon resonances. And here you can see that mesons also gets involved in resonance. So these are there are meson resonances also. So resonances are divided into two categories: meson resonances and baryon resonances. So in this class we had covered a main topic. Maybe will ask as an essay question, elementary particles, with its introduction, followed by the classification of elementary particles, and also resonance particles. So this together forms an essay. You have to write this classification of elementary particles with the introduction as well as the conclusion of resonance particles. I hope the class is clear to you. Thank you.